Tonight on the CW News at 10, a mother found out about her daughter's murder on Facebook. And now this mourning family goes online once again for help. Destroyed at Disney, cars in the garage up in flames. What set off the destruction? And do you do it? Binge watch behind your lover's back? The top 5 shows behind Netflix cheating. The CW News at 10 starts right now.
Live from the News 3 studios in Las Vegas, this is the CW News at 10 with Marie Mortera.
Tonight, a family struggles with a young mother's murder. She was found strangled, and they found out on Facebook. It is the big story tonight. Our Christy Wilcox spoke with the victim's parents and joins us live.
Well, Marie, you can still see where here on the windows and on the doorways there is tape. Investigators are still trying to figure out what happened to 24-year-old Brittany Briggs. Her parents say she was very inviting to all people, and they're waiting to get back inside to get her belongings.
She was really kind, giving.
Kim Briggs and John Schaffner hold childhood photos of their daughter, Brittany.
She was hard-headed. Very hard-headed.
As they try to cope with her death.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I just didn't want it to be true.
This past Friday, the 24-year-old's body was discovered inside her home near Mount Hood and Owens. Brittany's 3-year-old daughter opened the door for friends who discovered her body.
She loved our granddaughter.
Originally, Metro officers found no signs of trauma, but the coroner says an autopsy revealed her neck had signs of strangulation. Both parents caught off guard after getting those details of her murder from an unlikely place.
I found out on Facebook. Our son was at work on break and read it on Facebook.
Metro says so far they don't have a suspect or a motive. As for her parents, they want both justice and answers.
I would like to know who did this, why. And until they can find that out, I would like to know why we weren't told. Why? Why were we left in the dark?
Now, her parents were told by the coroner that there was bruising, but not how or where it happened. Now, according to Metro, usually the coroner would inform the parents in this case. And now those parents are raising money for funeral funds. We have all that information on our Facebook page, or on our News 3 website, news3lv.com. Christy Wilcox, CW Las Vegas.
All right, Christy, thank you for that. And of course, with the killer still out there, we will continue to monitor all developments on this story on air. And as Christy mentioned, on social media, you can follow all major stories as they happen on Twitter and Facebook. Breaking tonight, a bombshell to report in the administration of President Donald Trump. Embattled White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn resigned just hours ago. Our Reed Cowan joins us here in the studio with the scandal that drove him out.
Well, Michael Flynn only lasted the administration a little more than 20 days. For weeks, reports have questioned his relationship and his communications with Russia. Well, this is all tied to Flynn's contacts with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Reports indicate Flynn was in contact with him and spoke to him about U.S. sanctions about Russia. Well, before President Donald Trump was sworn in, it's about that timeline. Vice President Mike Pence defended Flynn last month, saying Flynn had assured him he never discussed the topic with the ambassador during a series of phone calls before Trump took office. Well, fast forward to tonight, and it appears that the vice president felt he defended Flynn without Flynn telling him the whole story. Here's the vice president back on January 15 speaking to Americans in defense of General Flynn.
I talked to General Flynn about that conversation. They did not discuss anything having to do with the United States' decision to expel diplomats or impose a censure against Russia.
All right, so tonight, Flynn admits he gave the vice president what he calls incomplete information about his phone calls with the Russian ambassador and has apologized on his way out the door. There could be more on this story. Flynn's communications with the Russians already part of a larger congressional intelligence investigation. For now, General Keith Kellogg will be acting national security advisor.
So much more to come. I mean, what a shakeup, and we are just a few weeks into President Trump's presidency.
Another news-making item on a Monday. This will now play all the way through Friday.
No doubt about that. All right, Reed, thank you. Now to the tragic track crash that took the life of a driving instructor and his student. OSHA says they've taken taken over the investigation, but would say nothing more for now. Driving coach Gil Benkley, a two-time breast cancer survivor, was killed in the passenger seat Sunday at the Speed Vegas experience. His family, still too shaken up to talk on camera, say there's inherent danger in what he did, but he loved it. At this point, we're still waiting to learn the name of the client that was killed in the driver's seat. Another tragedy on our roads when a suspected drunk driver crashes into an Uber driver, killing him. It happened at the intersection of Centennial and Losee in the Northeast Valley, 1 block from the Northern Beltway. 56-year-old Laszlo Varga was driving along his Uber route when North Las Vegas police say a car blew a red light, hitting Varga and his 2 passengers. Varga died at the hospital. Police say the 2 Uber passengers suffered minor injuries. A neighbor remembers Varga as a good friend and sole provider for his family.
It's crushing. You know, I don't know. They're going to wind up losing their home. You know, he's paying for everything. The other car, the family's going to be devastated.
In a statement, Uber expressed condolences for the family and wished the survivors, a speedy recovery. The suspect, Alex Sadler, faces several charges of driving under the influence. And there is a new development involving yet another DUI crash investigation. The man accused of being under the influence when he hit and killed a 16-year-old boy on his way to school is in jail tonight without bail. 47-year-old David Fench is accused in the death of Jalen Fajardo. He died last Thursday when police say Fench plowed into the back of his car while stopped at a red light. A Las Vegas judge ordered no bail for French, noting previous driving under the influence arrests and calling him, quote, an absolute true danger to the Clark County community. America's top cop has Nevada's marijuana companies cautious about the future. New at 10, our John Trainer talked with some industry insiders about the latest timetable.
It seems like a bizarre sentence, but it's a weird time to be a marijuana dealer. The budding industry is watching state lawmakers debate how to get recreational sales of the drug going quickly and safely. At the same time, the feds just confirmed a new attorney general who once joked that the KKK was all right until he found out they smoked pot. Jeff Sessions, no fan of legalized marijuana, and that division is not lost on Todd Denkin.
I'm encouraged by his states' rights stance, but a little discouraged by his whole thoughts on marijuana.
Denkin owns Digipath Labs. Their job is to test marijuana before it hits the market. November was their busiest month until December, and then January, and, well, you get it.
We have been very lucky to be very busy.
What about tourism? Are they feeling the pressure of a business that's still federally illegal? Welcome to Cannabis Chapel.
It's a pothead's dream right now.
At the chapel, as much as 60% of business is tourism, and that's just card-carrying patients. If just 5% of Las Vegas's 42 million tourists try recreational pot, 2 million people could be buying. And Drew Januso tells us that number is too big to shut down.
And if we don't do it right, it potentially, exposes us to the feds getting involved.
And that was John Trainer reporting. Those who work to rescue victims from sexual slavery call sex trafficking in Las Vegas an epidemic. Nearly 250 people were the victims of sex slavery in our valley in just 1 year, some of them children. Now, a first-of-its-kind study from Metro Police and Arizona State University sheds light on the local sex slave business, starting with a single snapshot of the year 2014. The study found more than 100 victims were brought to Nevada from other states. Most of the victims were young. Many of them never reported missing.
How do we have juveniles that are away from their homes for weeks, months at a time, and they're not reported missing?
Over the next 3 years, a $1.5 million grant will help local agencies with much-needed funds to combat the problem. 3 men facing charges after police say they posted Snapchat videos of themselves illegally shooting guns. Metro Police and the FBI say 2 of the men are former felons. Police say someone in Mesa, Arizona reported one of the guns stolen. Investigators got wind of the Snapchat video during a gang and human trafficking investigation last month. Look at this. About half a dozen people at Disneyland had to be treated for smoke inhalation after a fire at the park's main parking structure. Fire crews say multiple cars were on fire inside the Mickey and Friends parking structure on Disneyland Drive. Chopper videos showed the black smoke billowing in the air and hundreds of people stranded outside. 10 people were treated for smoke inhalation. The fire extinguished about 30 minutes later. At this point, the cause remains under investigation. Ahead, 2 million American children experience homelessness each year. There is one group making sure those kids celebrate their birthdays no matter what the situation.
Lots of sunshine and dry weather today, but temperatures tomorrow, they're going to soar again. We do have an end date for that. Your full forecast is coming up in a few minutes.
And coming up at 11:15 on Channel 3 tonight, Amber Dixon and I will have a Vegas Golden Knights sports special. A 20-minute update on the team's progress, getting ready for the expansion draft and their uniform unveiling. I'll have a sneak preview of that special ahead in sports.
All right, can't wait for that. And brightening and sweetening up your Valentine with a new Only in Las Vegas experience. I'm Marie Mortera, the CW News at 10. We'll be right back.